Beyond the Badge is brought to you by the Edina Crime Prevention Fund.
Welcome to Beyond the Badge, a program about the inner workings of the Edina Police and Fire Departments. Thanks for joining us. I'm Officer Brian Hubbard. After more than 30 years of service with the Fire Department, Edina Fire Chief Marty Scheerer has retired. Edina 16's Dietrich Nissen spoke with Chief Scheerer about his career and what he plans to do next.
Fighting fires never really crossed a young Marty Scheerer's mind until a family friend brought up the idea.
My parents had a good friend that was a assistant chief or a captain here, and he knew of my family having 5 boys in the family. That was a good place to look for potential recruits for firefighters. And so he came to our family and asked us to apply, and at the time, actually I was not sure if I wanted to do it.
But he quickly changed his mind. At 19 years old, Marty, along with 2 of his brothers, became part of the first group of volunteer firefighters in Edina.
When I was a volunteer, I wanted to go into medical school, but as I hung around here and saw how this job was, I thought, well, this would be a great career.
After college, Scheerer became a full-time paramedic firefighter and was hired in Edina.
As opportunities arose, I took advantage of them. I became a lieutenant after a few years, and then I became a captain. And then when the chief back then, Ted, retired, I've been a captain for less than a year. And I thought I would try out for a chief, and I got the chief job.
That was back in 1999. Over the next 14 years as fire chief, Scheerer expanded the Emergency Medical Services program. He says the Edina Ambulance Service is one of the few in the nation with ultrasound capabilities. He also made sure every firefighter had access to a radio, computer, and smartphone during emergencies.
One of the things I'm most proud of probably is our cardiac arrest save percentage. There was a study done by the CDC, and we've been #1 in the nation in cardiac arrest saves for the last several years. So our paramedics are some of the best in the country. One thing I did do really well is I surrounded myself with good people.
Oh, absolutely, I'll miss him. You know, I see him all the time. You know, he's been really my closest friend from the time that I started here on the department. We've gone through a lot together. Our kids have grown up together. You know, inside the department, outside the department, I'll miss seeing him on a regular basis.
Really, I mean, if you look at the things that Marty's done, I remember when he started way back when, because it kind of surprised me because we had started together that he'd be chief. But, you know, I said, you have a lot to do here. You don't have any female firefighters. Your station is run down. You really need another one. And he accomplished all that. I don't know how he did it, but he did it, and he's leaving that fire department in a much better place than when he started.
Now Scheerer says he's ready for a new chapter, though he's not sure exactly where or what that may be.
I've had a great time here. We've done a lot of improvements here. We've done a lot of changes, and it's probably just a good time to leave.
At Fire Station 1 in Edina, Dietrich Nissen, Edina 16.
Daryl Todd has been appointed interim chief while the city looks for Scheerer's replacement. Edina's 911 Communications Center will soon have additional responsibilities. The City Council recently approved a 4-year contract to provide 911 emergency dispatching services to the City of Richfield. The City of Richfield will cover all of the initial transition costs and will pay Edina about $14,000 per month through 2014. The cost per month will be reduced in 2015 and beyond.
Overall, we're adding 2 additional personnel when we're bringing on Richfield, which I think will assist with both cities. We'll have more staffing in here to answer other phone calls, and we'll be able to take time for each and individual caller as their response or what they need. We can listen to them a little bit further.
Edina currently dispatches for the City of Golden Valley and will continue to do so through 2014. It is expected that Edina's call volume will increase by about 45,000 calls per year. That's a total of approximately 125,000 calls per year for all 3 cities. Edina will begin dispatch services for Richfield around December 1st. According to the United States Fire Administration, more than 4,000 Americans are killed and 20,000 injured by fire each year. Education and preparedness are key to reducing these numbers. With October being National Fire Prevention Month, now is an excellent time to talk about fire safety. Let's join Officer Aaron White and Fire Marshal Jeff Seams, who will specifically focus on preventing kitchen fires.
Thanks, Brian. We're in the kitchen today, and no, we're not turning this into a cooking show, but rather we're going to talk fire safety because October is Fire Prevention Month. And to do that, today I'm joined by Jeff Seams, the Fire Marshal for the City of Edina. Jeff, thanks for being on the show.
Well, thanks for having me.
If you could, give us the quick once-over. What does a Fire Marshal do in the city?
Well, the main thing that we do as a fire marshal in the Fire Prevention Office is we want to make sure that we prevent fires. We do that through education and through enforcement.
And that's the key word I heard is prevention. When we think firefighters, we think the cool stuff, right? The red trucks, sirens, water hoses, and all that. The truth, though, is we're really moving towards trying to prevent these things. And we would rather not have that dramatic response out to your home, right?
Absolutely. If we can prevent it, that helps everyone.
And like I said, we're in the kitchen, and the key there is the kitchen is where a lot of these fires start. Talk about that a little bit.
It is. Actually, about half of the fires that occur in structures occur around cooking. And that's pretty much the same for Edina as it is nationwide.
Okay. And the truth to that is this stove, these appliances, these things aren't just bursting into flames all of a sudden. The reality is it's a combination of people and their actions along with this cooking equipment. Talk about that.
It is. It's a matter of making good choices and being prepared. The number one thing that we can do is constantly attend cooking while we're in the kitchen. The other thing that we can do is we can try to prevent some of these fires from occurring by simple steps, such as removing clothing, loose clothing, or rags that are close.
Sure, so not a good spot for that.
We can do that, absolutely.
Okay, another common thing we want to make sure people understand is the danger of grease fires. First of all, that distraction, we don't want to start the oil here and then go talk to the person at the door that wants to re-roof our house, correct?
That's correct. Some common distractions might be a telephone call that you receive or watching a very interesting TV show, for example.
Okay.
One of the things we want to make sure that happens is that we constantly attend our cooking. While we have the heat on, we want to make sure that we're paying attention.
Okay, I made a mistake, came back to the kitchen, the grease is on fire. Let's remind people, how do we deal with a grease fire on the stove?
First thing we don't want to do is we don't want to add water to it. So some of the simple things that we can do is, if it's safe to do so, turn the heat off and then use something to cover it up. Come in at it from a low angle and then cover it up.
You mentioned the water. Tell us, why don't we want to put water on a grease fire?
So one of the things that happens when you add water to a grease fire is you have almost like an explosion. Water expands 17,000 times when it turns to steam. And that creates a large fireball. And that can injure people very easily.
So instead of putting the fire out, we may make it a whole lot larger.
Absolutely.
Real quick, let's just hit those boilerplate reminders about home fire safety.
So a couple of things that we want to make sure of is, number one, make sure that you have working smoke detectors in your home. It's very important. The other thing is, obviously, if you're not able to take care of your smoke detectors, call the fire department. We'd be more than happy to come on out and either replace your batteries or actually add smoke detectors to your home.
And that's a great point for closing here today. If somebody watching the show is maybe unable to do that, who do they call to get some help with maintaining those smoke alarms?
Call the fire department at 952-826-0339. Ask for Karen.
Great. Jeff, thanks for being here. Important topic. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Aaron.
And we'll return to you, Brian.
Thank you, Aaron. With school and extracurricular activities underway, drivers are reminded that the presence of children has increased around our schools, making the need for attentive driving greater than ever. Driving cautiously often means driving more slowly. Drivers must reduce their speeds in school zones when children are present.
The faster you're going, the longer it takes your vehicle to stop, especially in situations where children are darting on the road or a car is backing into the road. It's some things that you're not used to, it doesn't happen to you every day, and your reactions are going to be slower than normal generally. The slower that you go, the more apt you are and the better chance you are to stop.
Even a minor reduction in speed gives a driver greater control over his or her car and more time to react should a child unexpectedly enter the road. Motorists should also be aware that the fine for speeding in a school zone is greater than the basic fine for speeding in the state of Minnesota. On behalf of my co-host, Officer Aaron White, and the City of Edina's Public Safety Team, thanks for tuning in to learn a little bit more of what goes on beyond the badge. Until next time, stay safe.
Beyond the Badge is brought to you by the Edina Crime Prevention Fund.